Guys, we want to thank Judge Montgomery for coming in. Thank you, Judge, for taking the time to come in and speak with us about it. You know, and there's a lot of things about, you know, being in court and having that particular relationship with your judge. I mean, just knowing, and it was crazy because like in the 11 years that I was with him, I mean, I'm writing things before he even says it. You know, and that's what he was talking about. Shortcuts is the briefs. Because he says the same thing every time. Like when he admonishes the parents, when he's going, I already know where he's going when it's a dad that isn't there, you know, stuff like that. So I know that he's going to this, what is it, 161 point, and I already know. So I had a brief for that, and it was 21, and it was 161.001 C-1 or whatever, and it would come up. You know, so I mean, there's little shortcuts like that. And funny that we were talking about, you know, statutes and stuff like that on Monday, you know, and being able to get it right because you have judges that, and you know, he's one of the ones that I've worked with that I found he's very, very aware of the record and the record that he's making, you know, and he's very careful. He knows exactly what he's doing. You know, and it just amazed me because we have this joke all the time about our DAs. We go through the same thing all the time, and they're like, "Oh, well, where's that thing about that?" Guys, you know, the sun's coming up, the sun's gonna set, and the judge is gonna ask this every time, and every day they do that. Yeah. And he's real cognizant of the record that's being made. Now he does get a little quick, he can. But he knows what he's going to say already, so those shortcuts I already have and I already know. So I mean, that's the relationship that you build with your judge, that you know exactly what's going to go on. And every court's different because you have, you know, county courts, you have CPS court, you have criminal courts, whatever. So I mean, they deal with certain kind of law, and you deal with this law all the time, and you hear the same things all the time, so you know what to expect. And that's the relationship that you have with the judge.
I'm laughing, thinking to myself, we hadn't even had the signals. I was looking at them, and Stebbins cut the record. What are you, crazy?
Yeah.
I mean, say something you don't want on the record, you just go, what are you, nuts? Stupid? Don't put that on the record.
Yeah. But I mean, we knew. And it's
right.
just,
it was a hand signal saying,
yeah.
Don't put this on, because I'm going to say something off color.
Yeah. But it, you know, it's the unique relationship that you have with your judge. And there's sometimes that you're just in this hearing and it's so intense and blah blah blah, and somebody says something, I mean, just off the wall, and I mean, it's like, and we look at each other and it's like, that was the little little icebreaker that we needed, just to like, oh my God, and you kind of rest a little bit, and it just kind of gets you going for a little bit, you know, longer. So I mean, it's little things like that that you appreciate, you know. When
I'm laughing, thinking of all the things. You know, you had this parent who's just spent their whole life in jail. I'm gonna go to med school and do brain surgery. Yeah. I'm gonna just look at David. You know, we would immediately know. Just, you know, this is gonna happen.
and Mercy Hospital. Yeah. You have certain names that we would get. So I mean, you know, it's those little icebreakers that we were talking about, that you have to find that happy medium of being able to laugh at something when you're not laughing at the person. Right. You're just trying to find that happy medium of comic relief just to help you through the day. And I never realized how stressed out I was until I moved to this new court. And we worked there too, but it's not like this. And the stuff that we used to do and the stuff that you hear, and you don't realize the pressure that it puts you under until you step away from it. And it's like, you know, I mean, there's so much more to life than me killing myself doing these cases. And you know, what's bad about it is, you know, a lot of the people would say, you know, God, you make so much money on records and whatever. You know what? You're not there at 10 o'clock. You're not there at 11 o'clock. You're not there at midnight when I'm working on that record because the fourth court is giving me a deadline to get that record out. He knows because I tell him. And he knows because he gets the letters. Hey, Dave, we got a letter, Judge. I got it. I got this. You know, so I mean, it's stuff like that you have a unique relationship with your judge and with the staff that know. And I mean, you know, the clerks are fantastic, the bailiffs are good, and everybody works, when everybody works as a team, it makes it so much better. And you have that unique relationship that is just, it's a family. And we all looked out for each other, and we all worked together, and that's what made it worth it, you know?
It had to be. It wasn't for everybody. We had some firsts that come and last about a month ago. I just can't do it. I just can't. There's one right now. That's way too quick and too fast for me. And I appreciate her honesty. She just says that, no, she went to her boss and said, there's no way I'm doing that court. And there's court reporters who have told David, I can't fill in for you. I'm not going to do that court. And for that reason. But it's you know, it's a mixed thing. I have this real quick story. I'm thinking about it, just laughing to myself again. When you said that about names. We had a kid one time named Tasmanian Devil, Reyes or something like that.
Literally.
Yeah, the first name was Tasmanian, the middle name was Devil. And we were just laughing at ourselves, thinking, can you imagine, you know, the kid's potentials are already compromised. You could never get this moment. And the new head surgeon at Boston General, Tasmanian Devil, probably not going to happen.
No,
It's probably.
It's not. For the next Nobel Prize winner, Tasmanian
It's just
Devil.
probably not in the cards. Peace,
So,
brother.
thank you, man.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Good luck.
So, any questions about anything that we talked about, that the judge covered, or anything that,
It's thorough.
you know, and that's why I like to bring these people in, because you know what? You're not going to learn that in the book. You know, we're going to cover the stuff, and you know, some of the stuff that he was talking about is exactly on point with stuff that we've already covered. You know, some of the sites, when he was talking about, and I kind of wanted to interrupt him, but he was kind of in a rhythm there. But we've talked about ex parte. Remember that? We talked about ex parte hearings. Really? Were you out? Maybe you were in San Diego. Do you?
Yes.
Whatever. But I like that. Thank you. An ex parte hearing is exactly what he was talking about, where just the state comes. They don't present the whole case to him. They just say, look, Judge, we have a kid that has bite marks, whip marks, bruises, blah, blah, blah. We need an ex parte order to get this kid out of that house. So they'll call him in the middle of the night. And they take turns. I think one of the other judges takes a rotation with, so I think there's 3. And they take a rotation, and they may get a call at 3 in the morning. Hey, Judge, we found this kid walking down Zarzamora at 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 years old, in a pamper, and almost got hit by a car. We took the kid back to the house, and mom was wigged out on drugs. So we need an order to take that kid. So that's the ex parte of them saying, hey, look, this is what we need, can we take him? They need an order to be able to take that kid. So they get a call at, you know, whenever. So, you know, when he says he leaves, you know, sometimes he does leave, and sometimes he does leave work and is able to leave work, and sometimes not. You know, sometimes they're calling him and, hey, Judge, we need an ex parte order because of this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, take that kid. And then they take that kid, and then in 14 days we come back and we have that hearing that's called the 262 hearing. So, you know, there was a lot of little terms that I wish he kind of would have hit on, or whatever, that we've talked about already, you know, that I wish he would have kind of mentioned, but I mean, that's why I'm kind of bringing it up now. So, any other questions?
I did have another question.
Okay.
So, like re-election,
Yeah.
what was that process like? He's been there
Well,
for
see,
11
he's appointed.
years. Oh,
He's appointed, so I mean, his job is forever. So I mean, his judges are the other judges. So I mean, he doesn't have to worry about re-election. So I mean, you know, there's so many pros and cons to his job. You know, and some of the pros are, you don't have to worry about election. Some of the cons are, you know what, you're working Monday through Friday, and you've got to get 1,500 cases with 5 hearings before they come to trial. So you're talking about, and I wish you would have talked about it, because I was kind of curious to see what the numbers were, and every year they've gone up, and I think the last time I asked them, it may have been last year or the year before, but they were at, I think it was somewhere around 7,000 hearings that we did in a year. 7,000. That's one court. So the other court is doing 7,000. So I think as a collective whole, it was right around 15 or 16,000 hearings the two courts are hearing.
That's 3,000 times 5 plus, wow.
Yeah.
You just left that court, you said, right? You
Yeah.
said in January you
Yeah.
started where you
So I went to juvenile.
Were you there first, or was he in that?
I was there first. When they built this court, when they started this court, it was a pilot program. So they used to hear all of these cases at juvenile. So they used to hear juvenile cases and CPS. So you can only imagine how crazy that was. Well, back then, they didn't have the restrictions that they do now. You know, back then it was like, you could get a kid that was days old, that was loaded with drugs because mom had done drugs, so the kid is born drug addicted, and then all of a sudden, you know, this kid's 18, aging out of care. And they tried to work with his family for 18 years. They didn't have any restrictions on cases. None. Zero. So if they thought, well, you know, after 7 years, we work with the family enough and we think that we can put the kid back with them. 7 years? 7 years this kid has been in a foster care or a group home or some kind of with an aunt, uncle, blah, 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 and then all of a sudden they think the parents got it together. So finally, like he was saying, the legislature and the lawmakers come up with these things. It's like, no, we're not giving them infinity. You have 1 year to get your stuff together, and in extraordinary circumstances, and let's just say mom was in jail, came out, and she just hit the ground running. She's like, you know, I know that I messed up and I'm not ready. And then, you know, you get to that first trial and it's like, Judge, look, she was in jail when we started. She got out of jail. She got together. She's getting it together. She's not quite done. We need to put the kids back in, monitor the situation, so we're going to need a little bit more time. That's extraordinary circumstances. And I wish he would have hit on that too, because he makes kind of a little joke about it, you know, sometimes in these trials, because you have a dad that's in prison still for like murder, and he's not getting out for another 20 years. And he said, well, Judge, I don't want my parental rights terminated. You being in jail is not an extraordinary circumstance. That's not it. It's not extraordinary that you got yourself in a position to where you can't take care of this kid. Extraordinary is we're working, we're close, blah, blah, blah. Not, well, she was working, then she accidentally shot somebody 14 times and now she's in prison. That's not, it's extraordinary, it is, but in a different sense. You know, not, hey, we're gonna wait 14 years till she gets out because she was really close to getting those kids before she shot that guy 14 times. No. So that's what is the difference. You know, where you can go, the legislature gives you an extra 6 months. You can actually go 18 months, but it has to be extraordinary, okay? So it's where they're close. But I mean, you know, and one thing that he didn't hit on too is that we do trials every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
Oh, okay. He said
So-
just Friday, I think, for the long.
The long.
The long.
So we may do one, and like he was talking about, well, I mean, because we terminated somebody's rights in an hour, but we didn't do it in an hour. We may have done it in an hour that day on a Tuesday, and we may have done it on an hour on that day on that Thursday, and then we may have done it in 5 hours on Friday, because this one was longer. But we didn't do it in an hour, or 5 hours. We did it in 10 months. Okay? So, just to tell you about appeals and how important the court reporter is and how important the record is, you took that trial on Tuesday, oh, you know what, we're gonna appeal. You took that trial on Thursday for an hour, oh, you know what, we're gonna appeal. You took it for 5 hours and the parents are there, I can promise you it's gonna appeal. So now you got 5, 6, 7 hours worth of stuff in 1 week. Now you have 3 appeals. This one's doing 10 days. 1 day went by, you took that one. Now that one's doing 10 days, so now you only have 8 days to work on this one because of this one. Another day went by, or not even, the next day, that one went, and now you have 10 days to work on that one. So now you have 3 deadlines right there, and that's not even from the week prior. Or next week when you're going to do Tuesday, Thursday, Friday again, and you're getting more.
How'd you do that?
That's
Right.
exactly
No
what he's
weekend.
talking about. It's crazy.
Ever.
And it was crazy. You know, people used to say, you know, well, you know, God, Dave's making so much money on those appeals and whatever. Yeah. Come sit with me at midnight. Where I'm leaving here, going home, and you know, he was talking about finding that happy medium. I leave here because I need me time. So I'm going to the gym and I'm working out because I need to get right here. And not that, look crazy, but no, I mean, you know, it's just, I need to get myself back to neutral before I put it in gear again for another hour or 2 hours. And then you work till midnight, you still have to eat, you still have to shower, you still have to come down off that high because you don't go to bed and you're like, you know, you just worked on that thing for 2 hours and you're like, bugged out, and now, you know, you're awake for another 2 hours. Well, guess what? You wake up the next day and you do it all again.
How many hours of sleep do you average a week?
God, probably about 4 or 5. And I've just learned to deal with it. But now that I've moved to this other court, it's not as busy. The appeals aren't there. So I really don't have the appeals anymore. So it's really weird to be able to go home and it's like, shouldn't I be working on something? You know, after I get home from the gym, it's like, man, my computer's not even here. And just to being able to, oh man, release and just, but depends on which court you're in. And I tell you what, I made a lot of money. I made a lot of money in that court, but I worked my tail off. You know, and anybody, I mean, you can go ask a court reporter that's there now, because she just turned in some invoices too, and she was like, But the month or so leading up to it, she's like, Dave, I'm going nuts, and I'm doing proofreading for her, and I'm helping her out, and blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, when she finally does the invoices, she's like, oh my God. That's the fruit of your hard work. You know? So it's the money is there. And if that's your motivation, use it. Use it. But I worked my tail off to get where I am, you know? To where, you know, and I'm not saying I'm some wealthy guy, but I haven't lived check to check since I've gotten out of court reporting school. I haven't, you know? And that's what it gives you. But this thing is not easy. You know, but that's why we make the money that we do, is because it's not easy. And if everybody could do it, you know, maybe it was a skill like flipping a burger. Maybe everybody couldn't do it. There's only like 5 out of 100 people that could flip a burger. Then those guys would make phenomenal money. That's what it's about. It's finding that thing that you do that not a lot of people can do. And that's what we do. And y'all know that. Going through school, you know that it's not easy. And it's not just, well, I'm just going to go to school and I'll get it. I'll get it. No. This is going to take you to that brink. And you'll see. But that pot of gold, literally, is at the end of that rainbow. But it's how bad you want it. Any other questions? So use that motivation. Okay. Did we cover the chapters that we're going to cover next? Did I go over that? Get that so we can get it ready. I apologize. I should have had that kind of already ready, but we covered. I think it was 33 was where we left off, because I think we did 32 internet citations. So 33 and 34, because 35 is a little bit more detailed, so I think we may just do 35 on the one day on Wednesday. So 33 and 34 for Monday. Okay? Any questions? All right, we'll see you guys on Monday. Thanks, guys.